Hey everyone, I'm RM here.
Sup, I'm an Italian boy. I'm also making a Mario Kart X prediction series and it's my first time collabing using my voice, so cool I guess.
Hey guys, Pokemichael here. Unfortunately, I don't have an entire new track of my own to show off today because I've been very busy lately. But I do have the time to stop by and ask a few questions about the courses we already know about.
Hi, I'm Lawin.
Hey everyone, I'm Albert Boris.
And I'm Daisy Does Stuff. Together we're gonna predict the next Mario Kart game's Nitro tracks. So let's get started. Mushroom Kingdom, or Toadette Circuit, depending on what you want to call it. This track gets a drawing, which is on screen now. It's shaped like a 9 because, well, Mario Kart 9. If Get Mads is right and this is called like Mario Kart 2 or something, good luck turning a 2 into a track. It was hard enough making a 9. Speaking of Get Mads' server, the Olive Oli is making a custom track of this track. So I'll probably post that on my community page when it's all done and finished. Most people go with a Mario Kart Stadium 2 for the first track. I know Mario Kart Stadium was like the only good starter course, but like, do we really need Mario Kart Stadium 2?
What do you think Nintendo's going to do with Mario Bros. Circuit from the Switch 2 reveal trailer? Do you think it's going to be our starter track? A possible replacement for the typical Flower Cup Mario circuit? Or do you think it's going to be its own separate thing?
Great question. It's probably going to be the first track in the game, or maybe the Mario Circuit slot, I don't know. But I made my projections before the trailer drops, so I'm sticking with this track. But next is Fossil Falls, finally giving us a track from Super Mario Odyssey. There would be chain shops, waterfalls, cliffs. It would still be laid back, but a little bit of a step up from Toadette Circuit. There's no underwater sections in this track, because that wouldn't be introduced until the next track. Shroom Shores, which is a little bit of a tongue twister. A beach track inspired by the Atlantic City Boardwalk. You'll race along the boardwalk, down onto the beach, in the water, and back up again. This track introduces underwater sections and half-pipes. And plus, I got this idea from a mobile game, Bouncy Jellyfish, I feel like you can trick off of them. Closing off the Mushroom Cup is Wiggler's Forest, inspired by Mega Wiggler's Tree Party from Mario Party Jamboree. It starts in the forest floor and leads up to tree houses, with a few shortcuts through the woods. And of course, there's a Wiggler, like the forest section in DS Mario Circuit. A forest is also the perfect opportunity for some lap changing, which are definitely coming back.
Patreon! Hell yeah!
In videos.
Get your money, baby.
Starting off the Flower Cup. Spoko Square! If the Woohoo Island tracks for Mario Kart 7 were redone again for Switch Sports, which might help Switch Sports feel less soulless. This track gets a layout. The path starts with the blue path, and then the green path, and finally the red path.
Let's say Mario Bros. Circuit is its own separate thing, and we do get a basic Mario circuit as well. What would you do to spice up this series staple track?
I said in Toad Town at night, with triggable pipes like those in Piranha Plant Slide, and you could go into Peach's Castle like in Mario Kart 7's Mario Circuit, but for longer than just a short spiral this time. The picture is on screen now. Lap 1 is in blue, Lap 2 is green, and Lap 3 is red. Peach's Castle would also have a lot of Mario 64 references. For example, the orange area highlighted on the map is the lobby area from Super Mario 64. But now, time to pass the script over to Lawin to talk about his track.
This is my track.
What's your track called?
Neptune's Resort Splash. And the color codes are there at the side so you know what each thing means without me explaining as I go through it. So first, you start at the white line. Then, you go up the ramp towards the speed boosts, where then you go right. You can either go into the water or go up, get gold, and this is where the resort is. So you can go through either sides, and you could go through the middle into that area down there. Or you could use the green pipe from up there as well, if you made it through the water part. So if you traverse through either area, there's another green pipe over there. You can use the spin boosts, the green pipe, and the other things. And here is the entire map.
And for the last track, let's see what Intellion Boy is cooking up.
I'm gonna present two tracks, with the former being in the Flower Cup while the latter being in the Star Cup. Let's talk about the idea from the Flower Cup track first. My idea suggests a track named Astro Launcher. Astro Launcher takes place in a Cosmodrome full of rockets and research labs. You start off driving into the Cosmodrome decorated with scientific stuff, statistics charts, and lap apparatus. Afterwards, you take a sharp 90-degree turn into a lap full of Octogoombas from Super Mario Galaxy spitting rocks. After a few more hallways, which include conveyor belts, storerooms, huge Bunsen burners, and an observatory, you exit and drive into a rocket with more conveyor belts, and finally ascend a tower where a rocket is being launched, then finally gliding down back to the finish line. Back to you.
Starting off the Star Cup, I've got a desert track inspired by the Bermudo Kingdom from Salasa Land. Now, I wrote this before seeing Mario Bros. Circuit, which seems to be a desert track, so probably not going to be another desert track. But like I said once before, I made my predictions before the trailer dropped, so I'm stuck with this mid-desert course. To make it not as mid, in the desert section, you could have some lap changing, and then in the pyramid section, you could add so much stuff. There's a whole map of what Dry Rooms was going to be like originally, and there's so many cool ideas in here that they didn't use, so you could pretty much use all of them in this one, and it'd be fresh and new. Enough of me, back to Intellion Boy for his other track.
I'ma take it from here. Nosurname is themed after the Luncheon Kingdom with the DK Mountain concept as gameplay. On the way down, there will be rolling capsicum, hammer bros to avoid during the reset. At the bottom, you'll take a sharp turn to a lone island where the Mushroom Kingdom painting was, and take a glider rank to Peronza Plaza. That's all from me.
Alright, my favorite track idea is this one, Twilight Traffic. It blends elements from Shroom Bridge, Mushroom City, Moonview Highway, and a little bit of Toad's Turnpike. The lighting changes throughout the ways from sunset to twilight to night. Lap changing is back for this track. Lap 1 is green for some reason, lap 2 is red for some reason, and lap 3 is blue. That's not how I wanted to do it, but that's how I drew it. Now it's time for Albert Boris to be in one of my videos again.
Introducing Green Pipe City. On the surface, this would be a city high up in the blue sky, comprised entirely of warp pipes. But there's also a catch. See, the first 2 laps are the same, nothing too crazy besides driving in and on the pipes. But then on the final lap, a new path opens up, and you have to take a warp that leads to a higher floor of this town. Up here, storms are ravaging, and the sky has become a more ominous purple. And when you reach the very end, you fight P.T. Piranha as a boss battle.
Boss battles in Mario Kart outside of mission mode?
So this is kind of a gimmick I want to see as a whole in the next game, but basically, boss battles would work the same way they do in Mario Kart DS's single player mission mode. You toss items at the boss to deal damage, and once their meter hits the rock bottom, you can proceed to the finish line. Boss fights could also be personalized. For one character, say, the boss may be here, but nobody else can see it, because their boss is at a different spot. Honestly, imagine how epic it would be.
The Special Cup is next. And it starts off with Luigi's Casino, not Super Mario 64 DS's casino minigames. This track is a mix of Waluigi Pinball and your typical Las Vegas casino. Very chaotic and difficult as a Special Cup and all. Next, the track that's in this slot has changed more than any other slot in this entire video. Right now, it's Cool Cool Mountain from Super Mario 64, which Charlie's Cafe actually made into a Mario Kart DS track, which was super cool, and you should definitely watch that video. I need a nice track, and they always have Mario locations in Mario Kart. Tick-Tock Clock comes to mind. I think Cool Cool Mountain is one of the better ones to pick.
So we all know every Mario Kart game has its Bowser's Castles and its Rainbow Road. So I want to know this. How would you do these tracks?
Bowser's Castle. Let's start outside of the castle, go through the grounds a little bit, and then go into the castle with a giant mechanical Bowser statue, because of course we need a giant mechanical Bowser statue. Every console Bowser's Castle has had a giant mechanical Bowser statue. So this is going to lead up to warp pipes to start lap 2. Lap 2 takes you to the inside of the castle, and then lap 3 is a reverse of lap 1. And for Rainbow Road, I have 2 ideas. The first idea is a section-based track that starts in a kid's backyard and then shoots up into space, very dreamlike, almost like the Sleepy Time episode of Bluey, and then it ends on the moon. And the other idea is basically Rainbow Road and Merry Mountain fused together. And I thought of this because both Merry Mountain and N64 Rainbow Road have trains on them, and I was like, what if there was a Christmas time Rainbow Road? The Egg Cup begins with a Birdo track in the shape of her bow, called Birdo's Bow Circuit. Real creative name, I know. The track is similar to Yoshi's Circuit from Double Dash in both layout and setting. This will be another lap changing track. Lap 1 is in blue, lap 2 is in green, and lap 3 is red. I'll let MRM take the script for his Kirby themed track.
I'll be presenting a track idea I've been having for quite some time now. We've had many crossover tracks in the past. DK Jungle, Hyrule Circuit, heck, even Animal Crossing has some representation of Mario Kart. But there's one IP from Nintendo that only has representation in the form of a Mii costume, and that's Kirby. So, hear me out. Dreamland Dash, the track. When it comes to art style, Kirby isn't that different from the likes of Mario or Yoshi, so adapting a similar art style to Yoshi's Island wouldn't be that hard. Since it's based off Kirby, not really known to be that difficult, it's going to have a relatively simple layout. Similar to Yoshi's Island, Dreamland Dash could be more centered around cool landmarks and references. Imagine a section where you're driving through DDD Castle or aboard the Halberd. It would be great. Also, if we get this track, we need Kirby as a driver. Come on, Nintendo.
Now, I don't have any crossover tracks, and you might have noticed that. And it's not because I'm like, we have to keep the Mario in Mario Kart, but I think it would be better to save them for the DLC because Nintendo will make more money that way. Now let's move on to the Bell Cup.
I noticed you've only put 2 courses in the Egg Cup here.
Oh, right. The other 2 tracks are retro tracks, which I already covered in part 1 of this series. The 2 nitros here in the Bell Cup are Mushroom Mountain, basically a sequel to Mushroom Gorge. It's in the mountains, has mushrooms, very, very similar to Mushroom Gorge. And the other track is going to be a kitchen track, similar to Ribbon Road and Squeaky Clean Sprint, but set in a kitchen this time, called something like Kitchen Chaos. Drains and Driftways, a sewer type track starting off in one of the stations of Super Bell Subway, transitioning into sewers via a warp pipe, kind of like Piranha Plant Slide, and then ending in another Super Bell Subway station. This track would have a unique lap 1, and then laps 2 and 3 would be pretty much the same, except lap 3 would end in this other Super Bell Subway station. Wario Hotel is the other nitro here, which is basically just a hotel track. You go in to the lobby, you go up the elevator to the first floor, and then you basically loop up first, second, third, fourth. You keep going up until you reach the roof. And it's themed after Wario because I needed a Wario track. The final cup, the Feather Cup. Station Sprint. Starting the Poughkeepsie station platforms, going up the stairs to the station lobby, then exiting onto the walkway over the Hudson. No guardrails here because this is one of the last tracks of the game. And then you go underwater in the Hudson River, and then you race along train tracks like Calamari Desert, then with a shortcut through a tunnel, and then lap 3 takes you through the train itself, weaving through train cars full of Goombas and other obstacles, and then as the train pulls back into the station, you exit the train and then go up to the finish line, and it's a section-based track, if you couldn't tell by that description. The last track is a Music Park 2.0 track. Call it like Music Park Encore or something, because that's music related. You'd have much of the same instruments. You'd have like a piano section, and then you have drums and all that stuff. You have the bouncing music notes, and you would also have like guitar where you drive on the strings. You'd pluck each one of the strings as you drive across it. It'd be a hard layout, etc., etc. It'd be pretty cool. But that's it for now. Have a nice day or don't. I couldn't care less.